Okay, we're live, and a very warm welcome to the first live stream at Passions. So we're live on Facebook and on YouTube, and today I'm delighted to be joined by a guy I've known for quite some years now, and that's Kirk Pickstone. And Kirk's going to be talking to us about his passions and all that he's done, all that he's doing, and it's going to be really interesting because I've been watching him for quite some years on social media as he's developed this, and it's really interesting. And I think a lot of people have interest in this in this topic. So without further ado, I'm just going to play the intro to give everybody a chance to get in, and then we'll crack on with the real star of the show, which is Kirk Pickstone. So here we go.
Hello, I'm Phil Crowshaw, and welcome to Passions.
Great. So hello, I'm Phil Crowshaw, and this is Passions. And for years, I've been fascinated about what drives people's passions. There's so many different passions, isn't there, that people have? And it's fascinating me for years. Why is it that some people have passions for this and other people have passions for that? And there's such a wide scope of them. So I decided I'd go out and research it. I decided I'd go out and find out more. My curiosity was just so high that I just felt I had a burning desire to go and find out. And I was starting to think about the sorts of people that'd be great to have on the show. And very high up on the list, and he doesn't know this yet, but very high up on the list was Kirk Pickstone, actually. And Kirk is a guy I've known for quite some time, great guy. And without further ado, Kirk, welcome to Passions.
Well, thank you. What a build-up. What a build-up, mate. I love that. That's wonderful. Yeah, and this is the thing and I've said this before, and I've been interviewed for other things. You don't know who's watching you. And you don't know what their perceptions of are you. It depends, what you put out. So I didn't. Yes, you interviewed me a few years ago, and I can't thank you enough for that. It set me on a bit of a journey, and you spent the time to interview me, which was great. And yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride over the last few years, to be fair. But thanks for that.
No worries, especially the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's been great. Hey, listen, before we get any further, in 3 days' time, a year ago, I had part of my skull removed. So yeah, this last 6 months is like a breeze. If everyone's bothered about all the stuff that's going on it, listen, when you think you're about to die, nothing bothers you after that.
Mate, that's so true. Everything's relative, isn't it? And I have to say, to be fair, I kind of followed you on that journey, but I had forgotten. That just goes to show you. Maybe shows my shit memory. But I did follow you on that journey, and it was really quite concerning, I have to say. And you wouldn't have known that, because I know, we're not known each other for that long, and we're not sort of seeing each other all the time or anything. But I think that's social media for you in a way, isn't it? That you actually do see what's happening in people's lives, but people don't realize that you're being watched or supported, even if it's just from a distance.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, so it's a big week for me. So yeah, it's the last 6 months has been bonkers. It's forced us all to do stuff online. It's forced us to come out of doing what we was doing and look at things totally different. And it's a massive change for everybody. Look, not just us here, but globally. You know, globally, it's been a massive change. Last 6 months. But we have, that's as humans and as business owners and as creatives or whatever, you have to keep carrying on, don't you? As I always say. There's no saying, if something knocks you down, stand up, dust yourself off and carry on. Dust yourself off, carry on. And you've just got to keep getting up. Do not stay on that ground because you'll never, you know what I mean? You've got to get up. You've got to keep getting up.
Yeah, well, we're certainly on the same page there because I know I talk to my clients and I say, well, yes, you need to be positive, but more importantly, in my humble opinion, you need to be resilient. Because that's the resilience is what allows you to keep doing that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we're talking about passions, and I think you was talking about what makes why do people do stuff they do, and why do they carry on doing it? And I could have, or should have, or could have, would have stopped doing what I'm doing currently. We've been doing it for nearly 3 years now in the current format we're doing it, and there's been numerous occasions where I've just been sat in there with my head in my hands going, let's pack it in. What we're doing, why we're doing this, and then you go away, have a cup of coffee, think about it and go, right, what do we need to change? We need to do something different. It's not, this isn't working, let's go, let's do something else, because I'm doing this because I'm passionate about it. And then going back to what I said at the start, when you think you're about to die, I'm not trying to be morbid, but when you think you're about to die, you reevaluate everything around you, everything, and you go, and what I'm doing now, is it what I want to do? Yeah, you know what I mean? And I just kept going back to, yes, I carried on doing my radio shows. I kept doing all my stuff. Even my mum, my mum sent me a message saying, I can't believe you're still doing your radio shows and you're about to go in and have major surgery. What's going on? And I'm like, do I just give up now? Give up everything? And I think it realized that what I was doing and what I'm passionate about is what I want to be passionate about and what I want to carry on doing. So it does that for you anyway. Yeah,
God blimey, I'm not going to pretend I can empathize with that, and I hope to God I never have to, but who knows, you know, every day anything can happen. You don't know what's around the corner. That's inspiring, Kirk. Actually, that's inspiring in a way to me. It's that whole thing about just stop and remember. And even this conversation today, you know, it's a reminder of what might be around the corner. And, you know, because we do moan about some minor stuff, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I still do now. But then I have to come back to it. And, you know, I think if nothing from a passion, but from here, from today, people just enjoy what you can and find something that you're passionate about and put. Yes, what really frustrates me is when you see people going, I saw something the other day, I can't wait to retire, and then I can go and drive me motor whenever I want. Why are you waiting till you're retiring? You're not working unless you're working 24 hours a day or 7 days a week. 12. There's times in the week when you should be enjoying yourself and doing the thing that you're passionate about. And if you're passionate about and you want to become a singer, but you couldn't afford to jack everything in and become a singer, do it when you, instead of watching the television or the football or going out for a pint, do it in your own time and build on it and build on it and build on it. And that's where you get the passions comes in with people, not just it's a bit of a hobby or I think I'd like to do that. Do it. If you really want to do it, just do it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And anybody that watches that, if they should be inspired by that, they really should be. Right, okay. I could yatter on to you for hours. I know that. So I'm going to get back to the point, which is tell us. It's a bit like a reveal on a TV show, isn't it? So, Kirk Pickstone, tell us your passion.
Well, I've got a load of passions, but the passion that I want to talk about today and what we're talking about is the Duggystone Radio, the radio stuff that I do. And we're nearly 3 years. We're 3 years old at the end of this month. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride, but it's been fun.
So where does that passion come from? Have you always been fascinated by radio? I mean, you're probably not as old as me, but I remember Radio Luxembourg sat under the bed covers, because that's the only flipping station you could even access at one point. There's a lot of people under a certain age now thinking I've totally lost the plot, but it is true. Have you always been into it, or is it a relatively, they say about new money and old money, or is this a new passion or an old passion?
No, it's not, mate. It's not. It's by the way, I'm probably about the same age as you. I'm 55 in January. So from a young kid, one of my earliest memories is of music. It was always, we just come from a normal background, and the radio was always on. My dad was into his music. We had a little stereo and all the rest of it. So I always had music around me. Always been passionate about music. I always liked music for some reason. And I won't talk about my dyslexia, but I'm not sure if that's got something to do with being dyslexic. But anyway, I love music, and one of my early my memories of being about 11 or 12-year-old. Behind me here, behind that chair, is my old granddad's suitcase there. That silver thing there. It's got all my singles in there for a lot of singles from the 80s, and wow. I wanted to be back in the day. I always wanted to be on the radio, wanted to be a radio presenter or a DJ. I loved to have done it. But back then, I didn't know I was going to ever get there. Could never see myself getting on any radio. I even looked at hospital radio at one point, but I can't remember why I didn't do that. But I wanted to go onto hospital radio. That was one of my things. Maybe I could do that. And obviously that's a volunteer thing and the rest of it. And I did work quite a long hours, so it's quite difficult to fit that in. But so that's way back when for me. I've always loved music. I love all. There's only a couple of genres of music I don't like, but I like all music. I like everything from hip hop to rock to pop to country music. I love everything and everything. For me, if it's good music, it's good music. I couldn't care what it is. I was playing a bit of Bhangra this morning. Do you know what I mean? If it's good music, it's new Bhangra. Bit of Bhangra. You know Bhangra, don't you? Punjab MC and all that lot. Yeah.
Mate, I thought that was a country somewhere out in far.
But anyway, so I love everything. I don't like jazz. I don't really like folk. They're two that I can kick to the curb. So I've always been passionate about that, and a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Found out I was dyslexic at 44 and quit my job and started a business, and then wanted to try and get people to understand dyslexia more, because so I started doing podcasting. Then he ended up getting onto a radio station, an internet radio station. Thanks, Gary Jones, for that. And did that for some time. I was like, hang on a minute, I'm working lots of hours. This isn't my train set. I'm working loads of hours. This is crazy. I virtually parked my business that I was earning money off to do this virtually 7 days a week and not earning a penny. And I'm like, I'm loving it, but hang on, it's not mine. So 3 years ago on a Saturday morning, I went, right, let's set our own radio station up. By the Sunday morning, we'd launched it. 7 days later, we'd set it up. 7 days later, we actually launched our first very show.
Oh, wow. And how exciting was it when you first started that show? Or were you just so nervous that it took away the sheen of the excitement?
No, it was really exciting, because we were going out to Australia as well, to an Australia radio station simultaneously. That's why we had to start so soon. But yeah, it was very exciting, and it seems like a lifetime ago. It's only 3 years ago, and we've changed so much within that time, and people have come and people have gone, and we've got we're in the best position we've ever been. We've got some amazing presenters. We keep rechanging what we're doing all the time, and the reason we set it up, I thought I wanted to be a presenter when I was 10 or 11-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, and I thought we need to offer people that opportunity somewhere. So why don't there's someone out there like me? So we actually have emerging presenters on. So not all, some people have done presenting before. Some people have never done it before. We've actually currently got 3 band members from an actual group that we met last year who are actually presenters for the station. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely wonderful. We never set out. We set out to a platform for presenters and emerging artists. So what we tend to do is we promote emerging artists, and I saw 4 of our emerging artists last year pick up awards. And one of the highlights of the last 3 years for me is me finding a singer in the States doing karaoke. Her name's Bree Hopkins. And saw this video's a bit of garbage. The audio wasn't brilliant, but I thought she's got a great voice. So I played her on my show, one of my shows. She picked up on it, went away, started recording some music. Then she does a lot of covers. She's doing stuff on a Facebook page at the minute. She has something like 50,000 views on some of her videos. She's applied for the USA Voice twice and put me down as the reason she's doing it. She said, the only reason I'm doing this is because of you. Now, Phil, if that is one thing, if we never did another show after that, I've done my job. I want to change people's lives. I want to help people, and I want to, there's noise out there, and I want to cut through that noise and go, listen to this. You need to listen to this. And that's why I do what I do. And money was never really a high point of that consideration.
I think that's interesting because you do come across that. I mean, I'm obviously early on in this journey on Passions, but as you know, I've been interviewing people for many, many years. And there is definitely two things I notice. If people are talking about something they're passionate about, their faces and eyes and voice lights up. All of their mannerisms, their eyes, their voice levels, excuse me, all lights up. And of course, it's the classic where most people would say that it's cliche, but if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would do this, or if I won even a bit of money, or I got left some money by a great aunt that I didn't know about, I'd do this without money. What strikes me though is, from your point of view, is that, well, a number of things actually, but the first thing that strikes me is that how many people have sat there and thought, oh, I'd love to do X. Oh, I'd like to do X. But straight away, what jumps out at me, because I hear it all the time, you did it. You took the action and you did it. You felt the fear and did it anyway, as the saying goes.
Yeah, it's scary, mate. And to be fair, we joined a good team, who the founders of the station, and they ultimately want to make. It wants to be a business, has to be a business. Otherwise, you can't, it has to be a business. And it's not a hobby. I'm working, there's 2 or 3 of us, 3, 4 of us that are doing this like virtually full-time job. And within the first 18 months, couple of years, I put between 10 and 15 grand into the station just to keep it running, just to tick it over, just keep it going. People looking and think, oh, look at them, they're making a fortune. Yeah, mate, there's money's going out of the door. You know what I mean? It's just to pay for the stuff that you need to pay for, just to produce a show. And so money wasn't a big consideration for us, but it needs to turn into making some sort of money. But that is not the reason for the station. It's not, oh, what can we make some money at? Because if I wanted to make some money, I'd go business consulting, which I used to do before. And you're talking quite a few £100 a day to go and do stuff.
Yeah.
I can do it standing on my head. Yeah. Bores the crap out of me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can do it. I could do that tomorrow, but it doesn't float me boat. It doesn't get me going here. It's not the lottery. If someone give me £1 million now, I'd still be sat here talking to you. Do you know what I mean? Oh, sorry. I might be sat in a camper van somewhere or in a hotel, but I'd still be doing this. I'd do it mobile. You know what I mean? I'd still be doing what I'm doing because I know it makes sense to me. Everyone says, oh, radio's dead. And listen, you now, anyone can go now and go to Spotify. There's billions of tracks on there, and you can listen to whatever you want. Crack on. You can go to iTunes and do the same. You can go to YouTube. The music out there it's free. It's free. Just go and get it. But I don't think that's what people need or people want. People don't want you after a certain time, and I guarantee you, I'll give any money. If you're listening to a CD, an iPod, or anything, you'll be doing this. Next track. Oh yeah, I'll listen to this. Next track. Generally, that's what will happen.
It's absolutely true, that. Yeah.
And I think what the difference is, what we're trying to give. It's not just about playing. Anyone can play music. Anyone can put a track on. What we try and do is bring you some education and some entertainment. So it's got to be more. The music is more the glue for the show. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Only
part of it. It's what the presenter brings to that show. So that's why I'm passionate about it. I want something that I can listen to. You know what I mean? I want something that I'd want to listen to.
So can you pinpoint, and you kind of covered it slightly, but can you pinpoint what it is that creates this next level of excitement and passion in you about radio? Is it about, you kind of mentioned about making a difference? Is it about the entertainment? Is it because you actually love listening to the music yourself, so therefore you get a double whammy because they can listen to it while you listen to it? Is there anything? And maybe the answer is no. It's a random, lots of different things. But it always strikes me, because I ask the question, and then I'll kind of couch it with this: is that probably next door to you there might be a guy or a lady or whatever who's got a passion for getting numbers of coaches that are driving around the UK that were. Yeah, exactly. And and they're doing it all the time, and they love it, and you go, doing that. So is there anything you can put your finger on that says why you chose that versus taking coach numbers on the M6?
It's a valid point, isn't it? Because my brother-in-law, he could tell you who won the Tiddlywinks Championship in 1928 and how long it took and all that. I'm like, oh my God, what are you talking about, man? You know what I mean? His passion for sport is just, he'll watch paint dry if it was a sport. Do you know what I mean? He's like, not, and I'm like, that is bored. Fishing. I was somewhere last week and they were fishing. I'm like, it's the most boring thing on the planet. Fishing. Why would you want to go? But people love it, don't they? They love that, and it takes them away. I think it's a number of reasons. I think music takes you to another place. I think it's built into us as a human beings. If you go back to the dawn of time, they will have been dancing around the campfire. I think it brings people together, the beat. So music, if I'm a bit stressed or I feel a bit, if I'm away from music for a certain amount of time, I actually start to feel a bit withdrawal symptoms. I put my headphones in and have a walk around, and I'm right, okay, yeah, I'm in a different place. And it's a difficult one, mate. Someone asked me a few years ago what you should put on the planet, and it was more about the dyslexia stuff. And I'm here to change things. I mean, I'm not believing in any IB or anything like that, but I believe we're all here for a reason. All of us are here for a reason, to do something. And I want to make a difference, mate. I want people to know that I was here. You know what I mean? People will know that I was here. I don't know how long they'll remember, but I want people to know I was here. And I want to affect people. I want to affect people's lives. And if we can make someone's life a little bit nicer, then great. But me, I just love music. I just think it's fantastic. I love entertainment. We're on here now talking. I love entertainment. I love doing stuff. I don't know what it is. I just love doing it. I just love being in front of things and presenting or talking to people. Just really enjoy it.
I've got a question here, actually, funnily enough. I've got a question in here from Shona. And Shona says, what was involved in setting up the technology to do it?
Oh, well, you can basically start off with, and I've got one here somewhere. I've got a little, you can do it without a mixer, right? We'd actually teach people to do podcasting, which you can then do radio show, but you could start off with a laptop. As usual, you've got a laptop and a microphone, even a cheap, crappy one like the one I've got one there. A microphone, you can start doing stuff. But when you're starting playing music, really, you need a mixer. But I've got a mixer I bought down here second-hand, which has cost me about 60. I'll get it. Not even took it out of the box. Got that off eBay. So something like that, yeah? That's a sort of entry level USB mixer, about 60 quid off eBay. That, an half decent microphone. So I don't know, 100 odd quid. You could have a decent unit as long as you've got a laptop. And then
that's staggering, isn't it? When you think about how that not that long ago, the only way you could access music, pre-internet, which is not that long ago, is through a CD or a, dare I say it, you are a bit older like me, a vinyl record.
Yeah.
And now here we are with global access to being able to distribute and play and broadcast around the world from what in effect is your back bedroom. It's staggering, really.
Yeah, the barrier to entry, which affects a lot of business, is very low at the moment. And that back in the day when I wanted to be, a barrier to entry was very high because You'd have to have a full-on system. You'd have to be FM, and you're talking crazy. I mean, we'd like to be on DAB, but it's about 20, 30 grand a year for just a region. But so you've got a mixer, a microphone, your laptop, and then in through your mixer, you can plug your CD players in, you can plug your stereos in, you can plug your MP3s via a computer and beam it out. Basically, we have, for want of a better word, a website that someone hosts our station on. It's a proper radio station host, and we have a password that we put in and a log on, and basically it beams. If I'm scheduled to be on, I just click connect and I connect. It's a bit more complex than that, but do you know what I mean? It's not beyond the wit of man, and a lot of the stuff we've done, we've had to learn. We've had to learn what equipment we need. It cuts through it. So took us time to resolve some things, but
so you don't need a 30-foot satellite dish on your back of your house then.
No, not unless you was going to go FM, which there's no FM now, but you can get some of these. They're releasing some community stations FM, and they're a short region, so they're just a few miles radius. No, you don't need all that antenna stuff. If you can't get an FM license anymore anyway, they've stopped giving them out, and it's DAB, which is expensive. But we're also, you see, Phil, I'm a bit of a geek. I might be in my 50s, but I'm a geek. So we have I built an app for the Alexa speaker. So if you say Alexa, open internet radio, don't know why anyone else hasn't got that, but I got it. You get the radio station, so we're on there as well. We've got our own apps, and we've developed a lot of this stuff over the years. We started off with virtually nothing, and as time's gone on, we've just increased our skill set, and we're further on. If someone started today, we're 3 years ahead of them, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? In our development.
Yeah. No, I get you. I know people don't always like the word journey, but it flipping is a journey, isn't it? It's a journey of discovery, and a journey of mistakes, and a journey of hassle, and a journey of pain. But there's just something about it. At least as you were talking about earlier, at least you kind of feel alive when you're doing this stuff. And you're probably like me. I've been very lucky that I've been able to identify ways to make a living out of my passions. And and people often say to me, "Oh, you stuffy sod," and da 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 da. But at the end of the day, I've taken certain decisions and made certain sacrifices to be able to do that. I'll say, well, look, I gave up the company Mercedes to live off baked beans and sausages for quite a while back in the 2003 and 4 and such like. Are you prepared to give up your company car? And they go, oh, I don't know about that. So it's that whole sacrifice conversation as well. And I think that tests how passionate you are about something, is that if you're very passionate, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 of that passion, then you will give up the company car, the expensive holidays. But I think that a lot of people, they want the cake and eat it, in a sense. Yeah. They don't want to make the sacrifices necessary to turn their passion into a career.
Correct. And everyone wants, I call it a PlayStation mentality. Everyone wants the next level, the skip. What's the cheat code? How do we get to that quicker? You can't. It doesn't exist. Do you know what I mean? If you want to do it, I'm not into sports, but look at some of the world-class footballers or golfers or whatever. They've not just rocked up with the latest gear and, you know what I mean? They've been doing it since they were kids. Do you know what I mean? They've invested time, effort, and what really gets to me, and I just laugh, and I could get a bit offensive as well with people, is when they point at people, and go, well, it's all right for you. Look at you driving around in that car. Look at you doing that. And look at you going on that holiday. Oh, what about me and the government? And shut up. No, shut up. Come on.
I've noticed with your posts, I always think I'm on the same wavelength as Kirk, because I have the same philosophies, and we could get into this, and it does. People have different opinions, and I respect that. But it's like, stop moaning, stop whinging. It's not fair. No, it isn't fair. Whoever said life was fair? I don't remember seeing that.
No, and that's the thing as well, is because whilst you're giving kids in junior school or infant school medals for going up from one year to the other, or everyone's run the three-legged race and no one's lost, that's when you've got a problem, because people then take that into their adult life and go, oh, why have I lost? Shut up, get on with it. You've lost, kid. That's what life's all about. Dust yourself off and crack on again. Do you know what I mean? So and you know, we're talking about, you know, earning money and everything. I told you earlier on, I put quite a few grand in, and over the last 12 months, we've got to the point now where we've got some great sponsors on board. We're paying for everything. We're ticking over. None of us are taking a wage out of it in a minute, because we're just trying to build up a bit of a buffer and get to the point where we are taking money. But if anyone comes up to me when we're taking some money and goes, "All right for you, it's all right for you," all right, they should have been with me in 2017 when I was pulling my hair out.
Yeah, well, that's it. And this is a very relevant conversation a very relevant conversation linked to the whole passions discussion. And as I said at the start, this whole journey for me is about finding out what drives people with passions and what different passions exist. And it fascinates me I'm really intrigued and looking forward to finding out what I find on this journey in terms of what people are passionate about. Could be quite scary, actually, from that point of view. Just might have to keep it clean at certain points, maybe. But you know, it's just that whole kind of it's just that whole kind of journey. And one of the other areas I'm trying to find out about is, as I said to you, about monetizing that passion. And I don't necessarily think it's about monetizing the passion as in, how do I turn this passion into a new Ferrari in a 17-bedroomed house in Berkshire? It's more about, how can I generate some revenue from the passion, even if it's a side hustle, as we call it, don't we? Where it's something I do in my spare time. And it's almost like supposedly back in the day, you call it a hobby that you earn some money from. So you've obviously got into it and you've been doing it because it's your passion and it's deep, but you have managed, and I know you're still well on, you know, you're on the journey, but you have actually managed to generate some revenue from it today, have you?
Yeah, we've done obviously before the last few months we started doing podcasting training as well, so that was a physical thing, and we've been busy redeveloping rebranding the station again these last few months, so we've parked that for a bit. But that's another thing for us to, you know, to train people, so we've turned that into an online course as well. I'm not trying to sell it, but I'm just saying some of the revenue streams, so that's something that we can do. But what we find, and what I find, and a lot of people will find this, you can't be master to everything, can you? You can't be a jack of all trades. So what tends to happen with us, and this is what I've found, and it might just be me, might mean more team, but if we focus on the podcasting courses, it takes all our energy to focus on podcasting course, and we drive that. Then over here, advertising and sponsorship gets neglected. Yeah. So focus on advertising and sponsorship over here, and we go, oh, we've not done a podcasting course for 6 months. What's going on? What do we do? So what we've decided the last couple of months was, right, we need to focus on a number of areas. We need to build the station a bit more. We need to attract more listeners. We need to change, because our station was a bit of a mismatch, all different genres during the day. And what we noticed was people were tuning in for certain shows, and then the listeners were dropping off and going, why is this? Because that show is banging. That show is fantastic. Why are people not tuning in? So if you think about it, you've gone from, I don't know, the 8s is at 8 hours, which it used to be. And then something comes on that's like, I don't know, the Greek show, which is a fantastic show. People go, oh, I don't want to listen to this crap, and turn off. So that's why what we've done, we've done it over the last month or so. We've got a breakfast show in the morning. I do it 8 till 10. Then Mark Brimson does the drive time show at 4 till 6. And we said, well, actually, it's the start of the day and the end of the day that we're interested in. We want people to listen to us on the way to work, on the way to school, on the way home from work and school. They're the two shows. What do we put in between? Well, why don't we put mainstream on? Because we've noticed when the mainstream stuff's on, people stay on listening. So we've done mainstream between those hours. And then what we've gone is, well, all these mismatches shows, there's a country show here and a country show there. Why don't we put those 3 shows together on one night? So Monday nights now is country night, Tuesday from 6 p.m. So Tuesday night is rock, and so on through the week. And we've noticed a big difference, because there's a few listeners we was listening to and watching on Twitter, and they'd listen to my show, and then they'd go be listening to some station in the States, and you think, why are they listening to that when they've been listening to? How they've took the energy, because people are lazy. Don't forget, people are lazy, to click from what we're listening to now to over here. Something's not right. And we've noticed now some of those individuals that we've been watching have now been commenting throughout the day. So we know they stayed on, which is fantastic. Does that make sense? So that's
no, it absolutely doesn't. And what strikes me about what you're saying there is about the devil's in the detail. I think it's fascinating that, being on air, playing all this fantastic music, doing your cool DJ stuff. But at the end of the day, you've also got to dig into the bloody data at the back end to find out what's going on and how it's working. It's not as sexy, is it? But it's so necessary.
No, it isn't. And what we saw when COVID kicked in and everyone was on lockdown, our listeners went like that because everyone was at home. Yeah. Everyone was like, this is great. And then when people went back to work, it went poof, and we went, what's happened? What's happened? What's going on? Why have we gone up here? We're starting to come down. What's going on? Well, the listeners are dropping and dropping. What's going on? So that's why we went, well, something's not quite right here. And that's why we reevaluated everything and moved everything on. So for us, COVID was in some respects, for us, COVID was good because it forced everyone to change that. Brimo, who's one of the senior team, says radio's about habits. Because if you get in your car or get up in the morning and say, Alexa, put on Virgin Radio and listen to Chris Evans, you're going to do that every day. You need to break people's habits from listening to those things. Can click. It's a habit, isn't it? Everything's habits. Well, whether you like it or not, you do everything. You'll go to a restaurant tonight and you'll probably order one of three things that you normally order, won't you? It'll be chicken tikka masala in the Indian restaurant, won't it? Or steak and ale pie. I had one of them for ages. You probably have that every time you go to the bloody restaurant, don't you?
Sorry to interrupt you. When I go to a restaurant with my missus, which we did actually last night. I said, right, okay, tell me what I'm going to order. And she goes, that, and that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's habits.
So predictable.
But it's not because we are, as human beings, we like things that we like the comfort, we like something that's familiar. So that was another thing when we was playing. We're really passionate about emerging artists, and some of my shows I was playing back to back emerging artists. Now, if you don't know that emerging artists or what have you, you're gonna drift away. So what you have to do is you have to put the emerging artist in between well-known tracks. And then you as a listener will go, oh, I like this one, whoever I don't know, let's pick one, Robbie Williams, Come Undone. Oh, I love Robbie Williams. And then I put another artist on, Longstay from Scotland, there's a plug for him. You don't know who they are, you're listening to it because you just had Robbie still in your head, and you listen to that, oh yeah, this is not bad. And then I come back and throw Sting at you, Englishman in New York. I've subliminally give you that track that you never knew anything about in that artist. It feels familiar because it's between two familiar tracks. Does that make sense? It's your chicken salad and your dessert that you normally have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think what fascinates me about that, Kirk, is that it just shows you how you're going through this education process all the time. And, the barriers to entry technologically might not be anywhere near what they were. But all this knowledge you're picking up in terms of the process, in terms of what works, what doesn't work, the timing, the different bands, that what you just said there is something, even from my point of view, I suddenly thought, that's a good point actually about habits. Because I know in terms of that, if I look at myself, I put LBC radio, talk radio basically, on in the shower every morning. Yeah. I've got one of the speakers on in the shower, the Bluetooth speakers. Yeah. And it's a habit. It's an absolute habit.
Yeah. So we're trying to break that and say to people, come on, just tune in. We know when we're getting people listening, because I've got a friend that I've known for 30 odd years, and I've lost touch with him. I started talking to him the other week. I spoke to him, what are you doing? Told him, I'll have listened to that. Him and his wife listen to it every day, loving the show, brilliant, thanks very much, love this, great. They were somewhere before, do you know what I mean? And it's the same with anything. If people are out there now, when we're talking about passions, the painters, they're artists, whatever they're doing, you've got to get those people from being into whatever there was over here into getting into you, into what you're doing. And going back to the passion thing, and we had this conversation yesterday, and you said about you lighting up. I'm not faking. I don't fake anything. I can't fake it. I am who I am. Yeah, I might put a bit of I might level it up when I'm doing stuff, because that's what you have to do. You don't want me studying, sat here like this, go, oh yeah, I've been doing it for 3 years, mate. It's like flick it off. So you when you're presenting, you level up a bit. But anyway, so I'm passionate about stuff. And what that tends to do is other people look at it and go, I want a bit of that. He's really excited about that. They come along. And this is not, I'm not trying to play mind games with people. I'm passionate and know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. I said when we first started Duggystone Radio, we want to be freaking global. That's before we had any listeners. We're going to be freaking global. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And this is why we're doing it. Yeah. And since then, we've now got presenters going, can we come and do a show? Can we do a show? No, we don't want that. It's rubbish. No, we don't want that. It doesn't fit in with what we're doing now. Thanks very much. I think when you've got passion for something,
you're getting a bit more choosy.
Yeah, same with music. We used to play anything at first time. Yeah. Now I'll get stuff and go, and I'll send it back to people and go, this is rubbish, mate. Can't play it. You what? That's rubbish. You need to have it remastered. You need to do this. How dare you? How disgusting. I'm just giving you
very
dare you. I'm just giving you my opinion, mate. You need to have that remastered because, yes, the lyrics are great, but the rest of it is, I couldn't put it on my station. I'm not putting it on my station. Sorry. You know what I mean? So I think what happens with passion, talking about other people's passions and the doing thing, if you're not passionate about what you're doing and went into it 100%, you might as well forget it because everyone will go fake, doing it for the cash. Do you know what I mean? That's how people will I believe how people will gravitate to you because people want to be part of the tribe. They want to be in a team. They want to grab hold of someone. Not everyone can be a leader. Not everyone can be passionate about things. What's the best thing to do is support your team, innit? Support your local team. That's why football's massive and all the rest of it. So go and, does that make sense? Am I making sense of what I'm saying? I think that's where the passion comes from and how it breeds more passion with other people.
100%. And I think for me, the key to it in terms of achieving a lot of things in life, I think is about it's being seen and heard. You have to be seen and heard. And I talk sometimes on some of the other stuff that I do and some of the coaching I do about the 5 fears of being on camera, scopophobia and fear of hearing your own voice, phonophobia, and all these phobias that are kicking in. But it's almost like you've got to feel the fear, do it anyway. You've got to get over those fears and be seen and heard. Because if you're seen and heard, you have a chance. It's no guarantee that it's going to go. It's one of those things, and I think we talked about it briefly off air before we started. You don't know who might just hear or see a particular episode of something you've done. That's why you and I think, are very passionate about podcasts and getting people to do podcasts and video podcasts and stuff. You don't need 6 million viewers. You need one viewer who's the right sort of person who can help you or work with you to take you to get you to that next level of.
And people are obsessed with these numbers, aren't they? People are obsessed with, how many listeners have I got? How many? I've only had 20 downloads. And I say to people, if 20 people on this planet have decided that they're going to give you an hour of their time, you've done well. Yeah, you've done well. People are saying, I've got to have 1,000 views. No, you don't. You don't need. I think there's a book out there. I'm not good with books, but there's a book out there. Is it 100 true fans? If you've got 100 true fans, you'd never be skinned because they'll spend so much every year with you. We're obsessed with numbers. We're obsessed with numbers. I'm not bothered if I do public speaking as well for a charity called Employability UK, going to schools, colleges and everything, and there can be 20, 30 kids in the class, or sorry, I'm saying kids, you know what I mean, and I will go in there and I will say, if I only affect one of you in this room, I've done my job. If you don't want to, if any rest of you are not interested, that's fine by me. I'll go back to my life. Doesn't affect me in the slightest. Yeah, but if one of you does, then I was going to a talk once and he rung me. He went, it's been a bit of a mess up, Kirk. There's supposed to be 50 of them in the room today. Got a big talk. I know you're going to be there for a couple of hours. The communication's not got out. We think we've got 2 people in the room. You might as well turn around and go home. And I went, what? You might as well turn around and go home. Well, hang on a minute. So 2 people have turned up. Yes. Right. I'm still coming. Well, there's only 2 people there. I went, those 2 people have decided to come. Yeah. So what I might say to them today might help them in some way. So who am I to not give them that? They've been bothered to turn up. So I'm still going. I think they ended up with about 10 people. Does that make sense? I couldn't care less if it was 1 person in that room or 1,000. it's irrelevant. The number in that room is irrelevant to me. I don't see anybody. Do you know what I mean? I don't see anybody.
Yeah, it said, well, first of all, it says something about you, to be fair, that you take that view and take that attitude. A similar kind of things happen to me, and I take the same view. But what usually happens is that you're doing a talk, or you're doing what in effect is almost like a mini seminar training session. That's the plan. But if there's a lot fewer people and you're getting them all in that kind of that first little row, it just becomes more of a coaching session. And the reality is they get more value from you because you can be Q&Aing and checking their understanding, and maybe a little bit more of a kind of exercises type of gig rather than a preach to the nation, which can actually be a lot. You just got to adapt, haven't you?
You have, and the thing with it as well, going back to that and about passion, it's the same sort of thing. I get a buzz out of. I've always got a buzz out of helping people. I've always had I've worked for some massive organisations. My last my last permanent job, I was responsible for £23 million contracts a year, 100 odd staff, 3 sites. Big job, you know what I mean? Big job. Yeah. But the thing I enjoyed about it was getting the people developed and training. So talking about the public speaking, the thing that I know got very emotional, and this is where you've got it, is I said a line in one of my talks, and what I said was, it's a bit like radio station. My brother was like, "We can't go live. We're only about 60% ready." I went, "We're going live. We'll never be 100% ready as far as you're concerned. We'll never be 100% ready as far as I'm concerned, because we're still not 100% now. And we're going for 8 years. We're still changing things, right?" So I said, "We're going live. We're going." So I said this in this talk. I said, if you're 80% there with something and you think it's the thing to do, go for it, because you'll never be 100%. You'll always find a reason why you're not 100%. You'll always tweak and tweak and tweak. 6 months later at the award ceremony at Coventry University, this lad came up to me and went, Kirk. I was like, "Oh, remember that face?" And he went, "Here, look, I've launched my business. Me and my business partner have been up and around for you, and you said that one line. We've launched it. Look at this." And I was blown away. And I've got all my eyes are stuck on my arms here now. Talking about it, yeah. And I got emotional. I got upset because I thought, wow. That he's gone. His business might fail. But he's done it, hasn't he? He's had a blooming go at it, and that's for me. When you see people doing this, and he was chuffed to bits with this thing that he'd invented and whatever, and his passion for that. So, yeah, that's we diversified from the radio, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing, and you can be passionate about multiple things. It doesn't. Oh well, I'm into this, and I can't be passionate about that. Do you know what I mean? There's no way I can go doing numbers of buses. Do you know what I mean? Of course you can. You can have as many passions as you want, but you need to nail down one at least, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
just in terms of effort and focus and time and energy put into it, I guess, as much as anything. Mate, listen, we could talk for ages. Some great pearls of wisdom there. Some really interesting stuff. Fascinating to hear the journey. That's the first time I've really, even though I've known you for a while, it's the first time I've actually heard it in more detail about the journey that you've been on and that you're on. But blimey, if that's, listening to what you're saying and everything, that's not an inspiration to people and just get people thinking as much as anything else, isn't it? Then I really don't know what is. So thanks ever so much, mate. I really appreciate it because I know how precious time is. And thanks for when I said, "Do you fancy going live?" You just went, "Yeah."
I'm talking about that just quickly. You was talking about phobias before. When I first started doing, I would never do this years ago. I was really. You ask some of my family and people that I've known long time. I go, "What, Kirk?" I never had any confidence. You can get confidence. One of the only things you need in life. You need to have confidence. Yeah, you need to have confidence. And the best thing people can do is start doing Facebook Lives to themselves. That don't beam it out, watch it and get used to the sound of your voice. I used to listen to every single show I produced, every single one back. Why? Because I wanted to listen to it with the ears of a listener. I listen to myself now when I'm doing stuff and I don't hear me. Does that make sense? I don't hear me. I heard Kirk, the presenter. Yeah, I don't hear me. So get over yourself, people, because if you don't get over yourself, someone else is going to do it and they're going to walk away with a prize. Have a great day.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. So how do people, remind us again how people access Duggystone Radio?
If they've got an Alexa, they just say, Alexa, open internet radio. We're giving away an Alexa Auto this week, so tune in. You can go to duggystoneradio.com and press the player on there. You can get us on the Google. I think Google is OK Google. Open Duggystone Radio from TuneIn. We've got a free app for mobile phones. If people just type in Duggystone Radio, DUGGYSTONE, do that now on Google, you'll just go, because we've been building. Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah, we do live in an age, don't we, where if people can't find you and they want to, then they are probably on the dump grid.
One of my presenters said the other week, one of my friends is having difficulty getting on and find us. I went, might not be the listeners we want, really, John. He went, you what? I says, if people cannot find us when they're talking to Stone Radio, to be quite frank with you, I don't even want them as a listener.
Absolutely awesome.
Well, no, you can't say that. I said, well, I just said it. How difficult is it? Do you know what I mean? They can all download Candy Crush, can't they? Candy Crush. Well, how do I get to Duggystone Radio? Just type in Duggystone Radio in a search engine, you'll find us. I can't find it. How do I play it? Forget it, love. Go and listen to Cheeky FM or something. Go somewhere else. Yeah,
absolutely.
Go and listen to Chris Evans. I can't get it. Candy Crush, I'm up to 3,000 on it. Dogs.
Right, on that note, I'm Phil Crowshaw. This is Kirk Pickstone, and this has been Passions. Thanks very much for joining me. Thanks for joining me and Kirk, and have a great day. Bye for now.
Thanks, man. Love you.
Hello, I'm Phil Crowshaw, and welcome to Passions.